Hello, dear friends. Once again, welcome to your favorite channel, English Arcade. In this video, we will understand the poem A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris, given in the class 10th textbook, The First Flight. We will also learn and understand all the poetic devices used in the poem. This poem is written by Leslie Norris, who is a renowned prize-winning Welsh poet and a short story writer. Through this poem, the poet explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger who has to live in a zoo. He further explains what his life could be had he been a free animal. He highlights the plight of animals that are caged by human beings for their own entertainment and selfish interests. Let us start by identifying the rhyme scheme of the poem. The rhyme scheme is a pattern of rhymes at the end of each line. So we need to look at the last words of each line. Each sound is denoted by an alphabet. So stanza 1, the last word stripes, it's denoted by alphabet A. Cage is denoted by alphabet B because it doesn't rhyme with stripes. Quiet is denoted by alphabet C because it's a new sound. It neither rhymes with stripes nor cage. Rage is denoted by alphabet B because it rhymes with cage. So the rhyme scheme of stanza 1 is A, B, C, B. Stanza 2, shadow, alphabet A, grass, alphabet B, hole, alphabet C. Pass is alphabet B because it rhymes with grass. Therefore, the rhyme scheme of stanza 2 is also A, B, C, B. Let us look at the rhyme scheme used in stanza 3. Looking at the last words of each line, houses, edge, claws, and village. So stanza 3 also follows the same rhyme scheme which has been followed in stanzas 1 and 2, which is A, B, C, B. Houses, edge, claws, village. Edge and village rhyme with each other, so both take on the alphabet B. It goes the same way in stanza 4. Looking at the last words of each line, cell, bars, cage, and visitors. So it takes on the same rhyme scheme A, B, C, B as bars and visitors rhyme with each other. Last stanza of the poem. Looking at the last words of each line, night, cars, eyes, and stars. Stanza 5 follows the rhyme scheme of A, B, C, B as cars and stars rhyme with each other, so both of them take on alphabet B. When the rhyme scheme of the whole poem is constant, it becomes the rhyme scheme of the whole poem. So if each stanza follows the same rhyme scheme, it becomes the rhyme scheme of the whole poem. So the rhyme scheme of this poem is A, B, C, B. Let us understand stanza 1. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on paths of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. The poet describes a tiger who's locked up in a cage. He moves around in his cage at the zoo very quietly. The clear and sharp stripes on his body are brightly colored. His paws are velvet-like and very soft. Therefore, one cannot hear his footsteps while he is walking. In spite of all his strength, he now lies behind the bars imprisoned, and the caged tiger is for sure angry. He is full of anger and rage, but is quiet because he knows that he is helpless there and is not free. He can take only a few steps because of the limited space available to him. Let us look at the poetic devices used in stanza 1. Personification. The tiger has been personified because the poet refers to him as he and not it. In fact, the tiger has been personified throughout the poem each time it is referred to. Metaphor has been used in pads of velvet. The tiger's paws have been compared with a soft velvet. Enjambment has been used several times in the poem. Even in the first stanza, enjambment is used when a sentence is continued to the next line without any punctuation mark. So the first two lines follow enjambment, where he stalks in his well-vivid stripes continues to the next line without the use of any punctuation mark. The poet also uses imagery when he says he stalks in his vivid stripes. Dear friends, imagery is created each time a visual description is given. So the poet gives a detailed visual description about the tiger. We almost create an image of the tiger in front of our eyes. Assonance is used because of the prominent sound of the vowel I used in he stalks in his vivid stripes in his quiet rage. Consonance is also used here in stanza 1, where we see the dominant sound of the consonant S used in stalks in his vivid stripes. Oxymoron is used by the poet in stanza 1 with quiet rage, two opposite words used together to form a phrase. Let us understand stanza 2. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the waterhole where plump deer pass. Looking at the caged tiger, the poet is filled with pity. He says that the poor tiger should have been in his natural habitat, that is, in the jungle, hunting and resting. There in the jungle, he would have been lying in the shadow of trees and sliding quietly through long grass. He would then, near the waterhole, lie there and wait in order to catch a deer as his prey. However, the tiger cannot do so because he is at a zoo, that too in a cage. Looking at the poetic devices used in stanza 2, enjambment is used in lines 2 and 3, where sliding through long grass carries forth to line 3 near the waterhole without the use of any punctuation mark. Alliteration is used at plump deer pass, so plump pass is a beautiful example of alliteration. Imagery is used yet again where the poet creates an image of the tiger's activities like lurking in shadow and sliding through long grass. Stanza 3. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. The poet says that if the tiger was free, he would have snarled around the houses at the outskirts of the jungle. He would also have terrorized the people in the village with his sharp teeth and claws. Poetic devices used in stanza 3. Enjambment is used in line 1 and 3, where the sentence continues to the next line without any use of punctuation marks. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's end. Onomatopoeia is used in the word snarling, where the poet uses the word snarling and the word denotes the aggressive sound made by the tiger. Assonance is used with the prominent sound of the vowels. Bearing his white fangs, his claws is vowel I, which seems to dominate, and vowel O in he should be snarling around houses. Consonance is used with the prominent sound S of bearing his white fangs, his claws. Stanza 4. He is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. The poet explains that the tiger is confined to his cell, which is made up of a strong building material. He is behind bars, so his ferociousness is also locked up behind the bars. He just stalks around, moves around in the cage. He never tries to terrorize the visitors for two reasons. One, his power is restricted by the cage. Two, he cannot attack them, so he silently observes, ignores the visitors. Poetic devices used in stanza 4. Assonance with the prominent sound of E vowel is locked in a concrete cell. Consonant with the dominating sound of S in his strength behind bars. And alliteration, beautiful use of alliteration in behind bars. Stanza 5. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. The poet says that at night the tiger hears the patrolling cars, the vehicles of the police who come to take rounds. He watches the shining stars with his brilliant shining eyes. The tiger's actually very sad with his life in the cage, but he cannot do anything about it. He just spends his time in the night watching the stars and tries to divert his feelings and thoughts. Poetic devices used in stanza 5. Enchantment used in these lines, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So one line moves forward to the next line without the use of any punctuation mark. Alliteration is evident at he hears, beautiful repetition of the sound her at he hears. Assonance is seen with the prominent vowel I used in with his brilliant. That's the end of this video, my dear friends. Hope you've understood the poem with all the poetic devices used by the poet. Thank you for watching this video. Kindly like, share and subscribe to my channel.